Stony Brook Community Development District. This is Tuesday, March 23rd, 2021. The time is 9:01 a.m. And we'll let the record reflect that Supervisors Huff, Simonson, and Nebrino are present and constitute a quorum at roll call. Ms. Chairwoman?
Okay. Do I have any public comments? Okay, the next thing on our agenda is for the... Yes?
Hi, that's Chris Brady. I joined.
Oh, hi, Chris.
And Chris is by phone.
Chris is by phone. Hi, Chris. Okay. So there's 4 of us. Okay, the next discussion is on the Corkscrew Road project, and the information was in our package. I also have 2 gentlemen here from the county that can answer any of our questions. If we look at this, and again, when I was going through this, not being real well versed in all this stuff, Josh explained it to me this morning. What they're going to be doing in the back road is repaving it, relocating minorly some boxes, and taking out the one concrete pole and redoing another one in that area. This is to make the traffic in and out of the back gate better and to help with the traffic on Corkscrew Road.
Is this in conjunction with the project moving forward from the interstate, or is this just something different?
This is the project.
That's part of that.
It's the Corkscrew Road widening project.
Right. Okay. So they're just up here now.
Yeah, they're just going to, they're looking for an easement from us so that they can get everything going at this point. Do you have any questions with regard to that? Chris?
Yeah, sorry, it's a little hard to hear, and I apologize for not being there in person.
That's okay.
So the county is going to repave the back road, the road that leaves our back gate that goes to Corkscrew Road.
Okay, I have Keith and Josh here. I don't know which one of you would like to come up and speak, if you could. This is Keith Gomez from the county that's going to speak. They're not repaving, I don't believe they're repaving the whole road. Yes, right there. Thank you. This is Keith Gomez.
Hello, Keith Gomez, County Lands. As far as the paving aspect, within that temporary construction easement area, we will make that connection and pave that segment. We're not going to pave the entire run of that lane.
You sure you don't want to do that?
Well, if they have some extra macadam or something, but no, that is not the plan to pave beyond that connection point.
And how far back actually will that go, roughly? Again, I'm not real good at reading all these plans.
The construction easement area for that temporary, let me just get that number for you.
Chris, I'm trying to go over
the full length of the temporary construction easement is 60 feet coming off of the right-of-way line.
Okay.
So at some point in that 60 feet is where they'll make that connection and the transition.
Okay.
So 60 feet would be, well, a little bit shorter, 60 feet would be the maximum length.
Okay.
And that's from the right-of-way line, so that varies a little bit from where you, perception-wise.
Okay.
So.
Did you hear that, Chris?
Honestly, it's going in and out.
Okay.
I heard about it. Almost like every other word, but I mean, it sounds like they aren't repaving the entire road.
No, they're not repaving the entire road. They're going to be going back approximately 60 feet from the right-of-way line. So it will be to some degree, but not the whole line unless they have extra stuff.
I didn't think so based on this Johnson's drawings here, but...
It's always good to ask.
Again, yeah.
But are you? So you're asking? They're asking for the easement?
Yes.
That's correct.
Yes.
That segment is a temporary construction easement.
Right.
Pardon me?
If you pave the road. You want the easement? Pave the road. I mean, right? It's kind of.
Well, I mean, it's only took 25 years to do this.
Yeah, it's kind of laid out very nice. Right? We got something. We need something. You need something. We can make this work.
And the traffic here is absolutely amazingly bad. So I'm glad you guys are doing something finally. I mean, as a guy running a business here, I have a lot of concerns about the current situation at Corkscrew Road and the number of the population that are moving down. I don't know what's been going on for 20 years, because I'm a lifelong resident here. This isn't right.
So, all right, so we'll go back approximately 60 feet unless you can wheedle some more for us, which would be lovely.
That's correct. They have their plan, it's based on the 60 feet,
Okay.
and that's where the taper needs to be, so they make that smooth transition without any bumps or anything in that length.
Okay.
I agree with John. Can we put in there that they paid the whole thing? They want it?
I can't speak, the budget's been set. I don't know what that incremental difference would be. We're improving that intersection. We've got the curbing coming in. We're making the smooth transition so that there isn't any bump or elevation notice in there. But so we're looking to improve that segment, and that's our proposal.
Well, we're looking to improve our community.
I know, but we're putting in that 60-foot segment. That'll be new pavement. It'll tie in nicely so that the transition between Stony Brook Gulf Drive and Corkscrew Road is smooth and the appearance is appealing.
Well, then we got another issue too. Once this project's done, what if something goes in on the corner? Are they going to tear all that up again? Probably not the road area, but close to it, adjacent to it in that corner to put in that convenience store.
Yeah, that's...
It's going to be a mess out there
That's
for a
going to be
while.
another issue, but that's with the village, and this is with the county.
Right,
So,
right.
We have to...
I was just saying, for our standpoint as a community, we got to
yeah.
think about, there's going to be some time, who knows? How soon do you guys plan on being up there in this area as far as progress, the way things are going?
They're starting this project in the immediate future, and where they will, or when they will actually tie into that specific location, I don't think that's set yet.
It's not
Josh?
set, that will be determined by the contractor's schedule.
When they do roads like this, how much do they put in for contingency?
That I don't know. I'm with the county land side of it. The DOT side is a little bit different. Josh is one of the consultants with Johnson Engineering.
Josh Hildebrand for the record. Regarding the contingency, there's not necessarily contingency built into the plans per se. The phase one, and this is from Ben Hill Griffin to Bellaterra, that has been bid. Construction's going to start probably here in the next 2 to 3 months. You'll see some of the utility work likely starting first. We got to get the underground done, but the county does have a contractor on board. With regards to when specifically they're going to be at that driveway, that'll be dictated by the contractor schedule, which we haven't seen. I would anticipate it would be towards the front half of the project for that segment, but I can't tell you that for certainty. With regards to the 60 feet, again, our intent there is to make it as smooth as possible for you so there's not a bump. We can fit it in the existing right-of-way, but if we can come back a little bit farther and make a smoother transition, I think it'll be a nicer ride for you. So that's why we were asking for that additional 60 feet. And then as far as the pull boxes, there's already some within that second easement. There's already some within there. Those are those 17 by 30 inch. I think there's 3 or 4 out there. They're going generally in the same location, and that's for the signal function. So
Is that at the back gate or is that at Ben Hill?
Back gate.
That's
all the back.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, from the DOT side, have you guys seen what it's like out there in the afternoon when those parents are picking up their kids? How far back that line goes?
Yes, sir.
So I was going to imagine, like in the heat of that road construction, when you're switching lanes over because you're putting in new lanes and all that, you're diverting. I mean, I can only imagine, like, what'd you come up with? What did you think of to make that work? Because it's bad.
No, that's a good question. No, we did do AM, we did peak hour count. We probably saw us out here counting cars over the last couple of years. That was a big concern on that turn lane. We know there's a lot of stacking at the school. That turn lane's it's been lengthened, it's gonna be extra long. I don't have the exact length off the top of my head, but we're doing everything we can to provide as much stacking into the school as possible, and then trying to make sure we can get better function out of that signal once we have that 4-lane connection in place and work with some of the timings. So we understand that's a concern, and we're trying to make that condition better.
And then, so you're starting at Ben Hill, right? I mean, that's what the project is starting. Essentially, that's where it's starting and working its way up to this point. Or another question about the Ben Hill intersection. When you're on Ben Hill and you dead end, getting ready to cross over Corkscrew, you can barely see our front side because of all the massive amount of shit, basically, that's there. Telephone poles, concrete telephone power lines, old boxes and stuff like that. I mean, is that stuff going to get cleaned up, or is it, because I mean, when you sit there at that turn lane and, you know, yeah, I'm turning, but you can't even see the signs. There's so much extra stuff out there. A lot of it's defunct, I mean, that I've looked at and seen. You know, there's old poles, and is that all going to get cleaned up?
The stuff inside the right-of-way will be cleaned out to a certain degree. We are going to be adding southbound dual lefts onto Corkscrew from Ben Hill. That signal is going to be redone, so a lot of the older, it'll look generally about the same, but a lot of the older infrastructure there is going to have to be reconstructed as part of the project, so it'll be cleaned up to the extent possible. We still have to put new infrastructure in for a signal.
Is that corner going to change at all? Because, I mean, it's single lane that merges, you have to merge over, you know.
Which specific?
So if you're dead ended at Ben Hill and you're getting ready to cross over Corkscrew to come into Stony Brook, that would be that caddy corner from your left. It'd be like 11 o'clock if Stony Brook was 12, you know, and our signs right there, our fountain and everything, that corner.
Inside the right-of-way, well, outside the right-of-way, we're not doing anything outside the existing right-of-way. At this point now, there is going to be a pathway project. I don't know if that's going to have any impact on that, but there is going to be... That's
not going to be 2 lanes through there, or like, instead of where it merges, you know how it merges now, like if you turn...
Yes, the 2 lanes are going to carry, that'll be...
It'll carry over from the intersection,
yes,
right?
Yeah, it won't be, right now, if you come through and it merges back down to 1, as you go east, it'll carry through.
And right, so it already has the 2 lanes right there at the intersection.
Correct. So the 4 laning is only going to go to Bellaterra, is that what you're saying?
So
Rico, I think, right?
In phase 1.
Yeah, so there's multiple phases. The county was able to get an early start on phase 1. That's from Ben Hill to Bellaterra because they had the majority of the right-of-way and permitting done. The second phase from Bellaterra to Alico, that has a longer permitting time with the Army Corps of Engineers and the Water Management District. They have to acquire a pond site for treating the road, so that's in permitting. That will likely start following, hopefully, the completion of this project.
Okay, and you're saying that this could start in the next couple months, so hopefully most of the corner there is done during the summer when the school is closed, we would hope?
That's what we hope. Again, we will, and the county does have a construction engineering inspection team, and I'm sure there will be a lot of, I don't want to say pressure, but suggestion to the contractor to make sure they minimize disruptions during school when they're working in that area. And they're going to want to do that for themselves.
Yeah, for their own sake. Right.
The other question I will ask you, as you get a schedule and as things progress, can you email Chuck and he can forward it to us so that we can have a time frame so that all of a sudden they're not digging up that road and we had no idea? Because if they start doing work there, we may very well have to close the back gate. We may need to notify the residents. So I need to have a firm date that they're going to start April 1st to the 5th, they're digging up this road in the back, just so the residents have some idea, because I don't want all of a sudden people trying to get out of there and they can't.
Absolutely. I'll pass that information on to the county project manager, and then AIM Engineering is going to be doing the construction engineering inspection, so we will make sure that information is passed on to the CEI team as well.
Okay.
And they'll be contacting the vested interest holders out here with those type of matters, whether it be subdivisions, the school.
Will they be doing any night work to alleviate some of that? Like, because they're going to have to close that intersection at one point to make the connection and finalize everything. Whether it be for a few hours or, do it in multiple days, but they're going to have to close it eventually, because you can't switch over one side of the lane and have incoming and I've never.
I would expect, again, I don't have the contractor schedule yet. I would anticipate there's going to have to be certain work done in off-peak hours to make these.
No. I was just thinking about the residents on Weymouth.
Yeah, that I need to let them know that if there's going to be night, if there are residents over there, will truly be affected by, the lights, the noise and all. So as much information as you can give me in a truly timely manner would be really appreciated.
Okay, and I will send you an email this afternoon with contact names.
Okay.
With County DOT and Public Information Officer staff that will assist in that matter.
Okay. All right.
I have a question.
Finally,
Yes, Chris?
it's Chris, and I'm really not catching a lot of this. We got a bad connection or something, and I apologize. But I'm not even 100% sure what was just discussed on great detail, but my opinion from reading through this, this whole back road issue, we've talked to the county, we've talked to the village, we've talked to the school district, and at the end of the day, Stony Brook residents are going to end up getting the bill for that back road, even though we've probably not even done maybe 20% of the traffic on there, and that's probably pushing it compared to how many people drive in and out of that school every day, which are county residents.
Correct.
At some point, I think would be a point now where we can come back and say, well, yeah, let's give you an easement, but let's work a deal on this back road.
Yeah, I agree.
What's going to come out of all this, and especially with the expansion, is we're going to give a piece of land there, we're going to give easements to people, and 5 years from now, we're still going to have to pay the back road. That the vast majority of the wear and tear on that road was not created by Stony Brook residents.
Correct. So I think that's something that we really need to go back to the county and say that, yes, I'm in agreement with the expansion, with the easement, but, that road is still going to, like Chris said, a majority of the traffic is county traffic and not resident traffic. And at the end of the day, when we have to fix that road, it's the residents that are going to have to fix that. And, in doing the easement, yes, it would be nice if they could throw something to us so that we can, so that they can pave the road back there.
I will present that request to the DOT folks and see if they have any additional length that they can include in that.
Okay.
But at this point, what they were looking at was getting that easement just to make the transition. They have the ability to make the transition within the right-of-way, but they were looking to improve all those aspects, the pavement, the curbing, bring that in nicely. So I will definitely present that to them and see what the response is. I know whether quantities have already been bid and that's already been defined, that I don't know. I will look at the distance, what it runs from the 60-foot back to the school entrance, see what that length is, and present that to the DOT staff.
Okay. So where are we with this now, Chuck? Do we wait till they come back with...
That's what I would suggest.
Yeah. So if you can, our next meeting is April 20... I forget.
Well, if I could interject,
27.
if I could just take a brief recess, your meeting continue and then I come back in, I should be able to obtain a response by then. Based on the construction schedule, I'd rather not delay matters.
Okay.
And that's the goal at this point. So I should be able to get a hold of somebody, see if there's some latitude in that, or if there's not, and then report back in just a few minutes and see if that'll satisfy the board.
That would be perfect. And I'd rather get it done sooner than later because I don't want to keep pushing it off.
Correct.
Because I really would rather get that done during the summer when school's closed.
Okay.
So, okay, sure.
All right.
Okay, then you can take a
No further
pause.
questions. I'll take a break and see what I can resolve.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay. Staff reports, Jeff? Oh, I'm sorry, John's first.
Go ahead, John.
John?
They want that shit bad. I'm telling you. I play hardball with these guys right now. I'm not falling for it. I'm walking out, I'll go make a phone call right now. The wheels of bureaucracy move slow in this world. You can make a phone call now. We've been trying to get hold of you for 3 months.
Yeah.
Don't tell me they don't have contingencies built in.
And you're bidding a job and already have the contractors approved before you even came here and asked us? What if we said no? You know what I mean? So.
No,
Yeah.
I agree.
So I just want to say that before you
Okay, no, that's fine.
Anyway, and like you said, hey, don't let them know that we don't care. We don't care if it's done in the summer or not. Yeah, we prefer, but we don't care. Don't let them know that. Like, at the end of the day, we got time. You don't.
I have a question before.
Use our time as our leverage.
Didn't they say when this project gets done, they're going to reroute everything to drive back to the school from behind it?
That's Corkscrew Pines that wants to put the gas station. And
That's, once they put the gas station in.
That's the village that we're talking to.
Yeah.
different
I
companies.
understand that, but if that comes to fruition, what happens to that road?
The thing is, the road will come in that way, but they will go out our road. They're not going to go in and out the same road. They're going to come in one road and go out the other.
All right.
Thank you, gentlemen.
So, last week we had our pre-emerge and amp, fipronil and flush out. We were closed that Monday. Everything went really smoothly, really well. Thank you for letting me do that, by the way. Right now we're extremely dry. I talked to Jeff and Mike. We touched on this the other day. But we're doing all right. We've had some issues with the controller on 18, but we're getting that hole back. Having some issues with a couple heads on number 5 on one of the T's, but we're working on that.
I think the issue is, we can hear our main fine. The microphones are just too far away from you guys. And, we've either got to get closer or do something on that line.
Okay, see if you can hear.
How about now?
Can you hear John now?
That's the microphone.
No.
That's the
Okay.
microphone in here.
That's the...
Okay, John, you might, when we come here, you might want to just come sit over here. Okay.
Is that thing portable?
Well, you can always drive here.
If I'll hear a sentence, and then I won't hear probably 2 or 3 sentences, and then it pops up and I hear another sentence.
It's the same thing we use every month.
Okay. What I'll do is whoever's speaking and giving their report, I'll have them come sit by the phone.
Not for the microphone stuff.
No. Okay, so John is back now.
All right, we're at that time. So like I was saying, we're really dry right now. We haven't had any significant rain in probably going on 2 months. And there's none in the near future, which won't be an issue for the greens. It's just the rest of the course because it's a lot more water, a lot more area to cover. But it's actually kind of a good thing for the greens. Helps them out and getting them back and where they need to be. We're starting right now. As of yesterday, we started putting in some of the smaller components of the sub-air system that we purchased. I hope to have all that in by, I'd say probably by the end of July, maybe sooner, but we're just being conservative on that. We got a lot of other things we want to do this summer.
And you're doing the most, more difficult holes first, the ones that...
Yes, the ones, right, that had the bigger issues. So we'll do the putting green. As far as putting in the actual system, the bigger components, we'll attack putting green 12 and 13 first, and then we'll just go in order.
Okay.
From there on out.
What actually are you putting in, John? Like an adapter?
Yeah, so when I gave you that packet, it had that whole layout. It showed you exactly. So on the flush outs, which are the drainage that comes up to the top of the surface, that's where we'll connect. And we got to put different cam, you know what a cam lock is? It's a fitting you put over and you lock the ears and it locks it together.
Yeah.
So we got to have a male and a female. The male ends will go in they'll connect to the drainage pipe, the flush out as it is in the ground. And we'll put boxes around them. And so some greens have 4, some have 2, some have 3. And then that way when we drive up with the blower, we could you hook up to it, you lock it in, and then you turn it on, whether you're blowing or pulling.
Right.
And then, so that's what's on the flush outs. On the drains, where the greens drain, on the main trunk lines, what we call fallouts. Depending on how many's on each green, some have 2, some have 3. There's going to be a valve box, and in that valve box, when you lift the lid up, you'll see these pipe components, and they'll have lids. Well, one of them's a viewing port. You take the lid off, you can see the water as you're, running the blower. The other one is what makes the system work. It's basically like a big vault, and inside this vault it has this ball. And when you're blowing air into the green, it pushes that ball up against the seal, and it creates like a vacuum. Well, not a vacuum, but high pressure, and it blows the air through the green. And we'll be able to do that on the putting green 12 and 13. And when you're pulling the air, what it does is it creates a vacuum. And then, even though you're on the high side of the green, you're creating a vacuum, and the water pulls down through the sand and hits that pipe and gets in there. Well, the vacuum's not strong enough to pull it back to you. It hits the pipe and then it falls down, gravity takes it away. One of the things we're going to have to watch out for on certain holes, and I kind of got in my head 12's one of them, the back of 12 green, is where we put those vaults, because one, in rainy season, you don't want the water, the back pressure of the hydraulic pressure of the lakes, because they'll still drain, but when that water gets to there, the pressure's not strong enough to move hydraulic pressure. It's not going to, work. So we got to keep an eye on some of those. And then you got to keep that up. Also, you got to keep that unit in there level. It has to be perfectly level because of that ball. So when the water gets in there, if the water does somehow back up into there from a lake, the ball will raise up. It won't block anything. Or if you're going to get a real bad system, you can open them up, reach in there, and pull it out. Just take the balls out. Keep them away if we're having a bad hurricane. Just to be safe. You don't really have to. Just an extra thing to do. And other than that, everything's good. We went and did a little inventory list yesterday. Kind of a couple little mock-ups for the guys. I made everybody take pictures of it, because once we do it, you need to remember how it goes. And that's once they do 2 or 3, they'll remember. It's not hard at all. Like I said, hopefully it'll be in by the end of July, and I'm excited to really start using it. We might, after we do putting it will be first. After we get that in, I might try to flood it, and then see, so we can pool, see what how well it's doing. And then other than that, right now we're kind of in this little lull mid-season. We don't really have pine straw coming out. We got annuals in May. So we're kind of right before budget. So I did want to say something about the budget. That's coming up in May, and I'd like to get things cleaned up a little bit, because I got some pretty big leases coming up. And just, so moving forward, I'd like to have that cleaned up. I know I got a lot of miscellaneous, like over 200,000, getting that payroll cleaned up. So when we go to do budgets, it'll be reasonable and a lot easier. And one other thing, I got a notice yesterday from Toro. They're going to have a 3.2% price increase starting April 12th. I know our meeting's after that. They want us to just not have to, eat that hike. They want us to commit on paper by April 12th. I said, I'm gonna bring it up to you guys. It's worth it. Yes, we do have leases coming up. We're gonna need them. So, it makes sense to do it.
So let me understand. A vendor wants you to commit to something so you can get it. So you can get a lower rate.
Yeah.
No. That doesn't work that way.
Well,
you let them know that if they want our business, they can earn it.
It's a price increase.
Or we can go to Jacobson.
Parts or everything. It's the whole. It's not like just the equipment. It's
vendors.
How much Toro equipment do we have?
All of it.
Not all. No, we got some tractors. John Deere. Our loaders, John Deere. We got 2 John Deere tractors.
But all the equipment you're looking to replace is Toro, right?
We're looking to replace it.
That's some high-handed shit, if you ask me. Sorry for bad language.
Well, here's the thing. If the prices will stay, relatively the same as what they are. They're saying if you sign after, it's going to be 3.2% higher. And I did say, I was like, well, thanks for the notice. You're giving me pretty quick notice. I even called my guy this morning and said, hey, can you get me exactly what I got coming up? I said, I haven't even looked at that yet. It's not even May. I said, and see how much of it is, and
If Forrest did that with Easy Go, I'd tell him to go pound sand, and I'd have Club Car in here tomorrow.
well, I think he's doing us a favor, not.
A favor. He's gonna tell us he's gonna.
Their prices are going up to 3.2%.
Sign this, we're gonna go up 3.2%? Ah, phenomenal. No, you're not gonna go up, and we're gonna go with somebody else. I mean, vendors are like,
Well, it's at least something you can look into, right, John?
Yeah, I mean, I think, unless we want to go to something else.
Well, when are the Toro
But the whole
leases?
reason we left John Deere is because it's something.
well, is Jacobson still an available product?
Jacobson's probably, they're the worst. Jacobson's terrible.
So you guys go over a barrel.
If we left Toro, we'd go back to John Deere. Jacobson's off the table. They're a dying breed. They're barely hanging on.
So he does have us over a barrel, and they're squeezing us. Commit or get 3.2% increase.
And I'll scrounge, when I leave here, I'm gonna scrounge up,
See what the
look
leases are.
across, see what I got going, and
What's the rate you're getting
as far as the interest rate,
as of right now?
I couldn't tell you that. On what lease?
We're gonna go up 3.2 from what?
I don't know.
The base price?
I mean, because you can take a loan from Florida Community Bank and own the equipment at the end of the term.
Yeah.
And, I mean, that's just something to think about.
Under the leases, are repairs covered?
It depends on what equipment, most of it is. But we would do the repair.
That'd be the difference.
Yeah, but most of the replacement parts and stuff, some things are your normal wear and tear items on it, but for the most part, yeah. Most of your big stuff.
I think I'd find out what the interest rates are. What's the price difference between leasing the piece of equipment over the 3 or 4 years that you're doing it versus purchasing it outright? What would be your average cost on maintaining it during that period of time?
When I was in the golf business, that's what.
Let's see, because I mean,
I don't mean to be difficult, but.
No, I mean, this is your business, Jeff. I mean, you've dealt with vendors all along as well. Can you do that? Do you want me to come down tomorrow or something?
Yeah, I'll start on it as soon as I leave here.
Okay.
I'll start with getting the leases, see what the interest rate is on them.
Okay. And then,
Trying to get a hold of Casey, but all right, so what exactly,
okay.
is there any more to this? Is there any less? Stuff like that,
And then, if you have questions, I can come down in the morning and we can look at it and see where we are with it.
The bank thing, how does that work? I can't speak on the CDD's behalf.
well,
Procuring a loan.
That part I could take care of.
Yeah.
I just need to know the particulars of what you're doing with your lease, so I can match it up if we purchase it outright. I mean, leasing sounds like it's the most popular thing in your world.
Just
And
because on the high wear and tear stuff, just
Yeah.
because it's kind of,
What is the secondary market like?
that's terrible.
Not good.
They're taking it back, but it's going somewhere. They're not just jumping.
And that's the thing, a lot of times, so they'll use stuff as loaners.
Take
Strip it
apart
down
the
for parts.
Yeah, strip it down. It's funny because when you go to try to sell it back to them, you won't get anything, but then you'll see some of this used stuff. If you buy it at an auction, that's like the next level. Then they resell stuff, but they'll bring it in, repaint it,
Yeah.
really refurbish it, give it a really nice, like 100-point inspection, if you will.
That's the only thing, you're gonna have that gap.
You can negotiate percentage of the residual price at the end of it.
Yeah, right, like a dollar buyout, right, we do that sometimes, we'll do that.
We've done
When we've done that before. Also, I know we get a municipality rate, being a municipality, I know that.
Tax exempt.
Yeah, tax exemption.
Well, one of the issues that now with Easy Go, because we're in the midst of negotiating that lease as well, one of the things he's telling me, they're having trouble getting stuff from China, steel. That may be in the same thing why Toro's talking about a 3.2% increase, because they're having issues getting.
And a lot of it had to do with plastics. He said the petroleum's going up, fuel's going up, and I see fertilizer's going up because it's all petroleum based. Chemicals. Plastic was the one thing he said. Chemicals, right, petroleum based.
Yeah, I mean.
Okay, well, John, if you could look at your leases, see what the percentage of stuff on, I'll come down and talk to you tomorrow, and we'll see where we are and check.
Yeah, just give me your framework for your lease and
We'll take it from there and see what the best
and
ones
what
you
you
got.
think residual value would be at the end, and we can do the the math, and I can reach out to the bank and see what they can do for us.
Okay.
And you guys are solid, you've got a lot of money in the bank and solid credit rating. Well, that's good for your interest rate, that's all.
Yes, absolutely.
You're extremely low risk.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, you think you'd ever say that? We're extremely low
I know,
risk.
right?
Hey, Don, with the greens, with this system we got going, so that should take care of the problem we have
Yeah, so,
now and in the future?
right. Well, look, it's going to take care of it, but things can happen. I mean, it's not going to be a perfect, there might be a spot here, you know what I mean? It's not going to be like 100, especially depending on the weather. If the weather's good, you won't even see, you won't ever notice it. It'll be perfect. And we're going to do that in conjunction with aerifying them, at least the perimeters, every week and starting in August, just to keep as much air, anything we can do, starting basically in August, you know, in conjunction with running that sub-air, anytime we get a significant rain event.
When do you think the greens are gonna come back?
Like 13, we're gonna have to do some saw work on the back of the putting green again for the 4th year in a row. Not maybe the size of this table. 13, we might have to do something in the front. Maybe about the size of this table, even though it's a lot more now. Most of that stuff will be grown back in. I'd like to say probably by around the same time, beginning of August.
Because we're getting killed on social media.
I tried to look on golf now. I didn't see, I seen one.
Google.com.
Google.com.
We're getting killed.
Yeah, we've taken a,
And even though we're taking, like you said, we're taking a hit, in my 9 years, this is the best year we've had.
Oh, no, it is. Well,
You know what I mean?
the staff's taking a pretty good tongue line.
Right, and I was telling John Vincent, my old assistant, I talked to him this morning, we were kind of talking about, he's going on a renovation and things like that, and asking how everything was going. And I even mentioned that, I was like, you know, unfortunately, they have to, those guys up front have to take the brunt of our shit. You know, if somebody comes out here and says, hey man, I don't like the way that looked, or he says it to you, he doesn't say it to me if I'm not up there, and I get that,
Yeah, we've had several instances. Can I see the hood pro? And I'm like, oh boy.
Are we telling people ahead of time?
Well, not exactly. No. No.
That could stop some of that
No, it won't. It'll make it worse.
Yeah.
before the...
Honest to God, the putting green tells a story. Here's one thing we're able to do. They come in, they start in on Lloyd or whoever's starting, or me or Bobby or whoever it may be. What's going on? The